triple feature tonight of a little something on the Parsha, Marv, and then it's a Shemos with Chashav Talmidim, Gabriel, and Shmuel, Mazel Tov, looking forward. So last week I had mentioned that Torah leadership, spiritual leadership, has a lot of differences between what the world looks at as, quote, leaders. I mentioned three things, looking at Yehuda, who was the leader of the brothers, and the ancestor of Malchus based David, and eventually the heir of Yameinu Mashiach Tzidkenu, and how we see different episodes from Yehuda. What I shared was, I thought, three ideas of showing this difference in real leadership and not real leadership. One being that a real leader, even after a decision is made, sometimes recognizes the next day after more thought, you know what, I need to be flexible, take a compromised position. The second, the fact that a real leader is not afraid to say, I did wrong, I blew it, I made a mistake, even if it's embarrassing and difficult. And thirdly, a real leader takes responsibility, owns up and says, this is mine, I have to take this, I have the achrayus, not pushing it onto somebody else's shoulders, this is my issue, I have to solve. Mentioned that this week, mentioned one other item, which I think is in some ways the most significant, the most striking as far as the difference between Torah leaders, great leaders, spiritual leaders, and those, quote, not such great leaders. Not to say these are the only four qualities that a leader needs to have, but these are the four where I think the world's leaders are most shockingly deficient. The fourth one, this week's Parshas Shemos. Come with me for a moment on a flight of fancy. Let's imagine next week, Tuesday, picture with me, there's going to be a different kind of election day. The Jewish people are going to have election day to elect the next Gadol Hador, next giant of the generation. And there's a big convention. You have Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky, Shlita from Philadelphia, the big Rosh Yeshiva, with his Talmidim, and they're all campaigning, and they're making videos about the great Rav Shmuel, and he's such a tzaddik and a Gadol B'Torah. Vote for Rav Shmuel. And then, of course, in Eretz Yisrael, you have a Chashav contingent. Rav Gershon Elstein Shlita, of course he should be that's Gadol Hador. And Rav Gershon gets up there and says, please, Rabbosai, I want you to vote for me to be the next Gadol. I'm going to lead you. I'm going to be great. I'll do a great job. You get the Hasidic community from Muncie, and they pick whoever is the reigning Hasidic Rosh Yeshiva in Muncie who's going to come down, and they're going to have a campaign, and they're going to have slogans, they're going to have posters. No Lashon Hara, nothing negative, and everything will suddenly be true. What a farce. Such a thing, of course, would never happen. Impossible. It's such a ludicrous concept. Why? The greatest leader we ever had, Moshe Rabbeinu. A good chunk of this week's Parsha is after Hashem speaks to Moshe and says, I want you, you're going to be the person to go ahead and speak to Paro, and you're going to lead the Jewish people out of Mitzrayim. You're going to be the number one man. And what does Moshe do? He spends a week trying to find every possible, conceivable reason why, no, Hashem, please, not me. I'm the wrong person. I can't do it. It's not for me. Aaron, somebody else. Moshe Rabbeinu sets a pattern here which is followed elsewhere in Tanakh as well, and to this very day, among great Torah leaders. The irony is, great Torah leaders don't want the job. They don't want the power, the control. They run from honor. They run for prestige. They're not looking to be the number one. Now, that being said, of course, Moshe Rabbeinu took the position. And in fact, great Rabbanim, great leaders do take the position. Even though they run away and they don't look for it, they don't want it, they do take it eventually. Why? Why? If they're supposed to run from honor, not want power, not want the kavod, why do they take it? The answer is because for the better of the world. The same reason Moshe did, because the betterment of the people, because the people need Moshe. Hashem says, you got to do it, you got to do it. We don't have nevuah today. We don't have Hashem telling us. But sometimes a person recognizes the people need me to lead them. But the difference is this. It's not a subtle difference at all. It's a world of difference. The difference is between the, quote, leaders of the day who want power and the tzaddik, the gadol, the righteous man, the righteous woman, who is not looking for power, but takes the position. The difference is it what I can do for my people, or is it what my people can do for me? Politician, I shouldn't say every politician, there's some good politicians out there, but a politician, the kind that we know, unfortunately, not so great, not such a leader, wants power, not because they want to go ahead and help their people, and they do everything they can for them. They want power. They want the people to give them the power. The gadol only wants to be in this position to give to others. I'm there for them, they're not there for me. And of course in Moshe Rabbeinu, we see this most strikingly. Moshe Rabbeinu was the person who said to Hashem, after the sin of the Eichel Hazav, the golden calf, when Hashem said, I'm going to wipe them out and start over with a new nation. And Moshe says, please accept my tefillos on their behalf, and if not, erase me from the book you've written. I'm nothing without them. My whole existence is for them, to help them. That's the only reason I'm in this position. And that's a true gadol, and that's how gadolim since the time of Moshe have served Bnei Israel. They were in it only to go ahead and serve the klal, to do the benefit of the klal, not the klal does for them. What's striking is what comes out of this. Moshe Rabbeinu, greatest ever, was not always the most popular leader of Klal Yisrael. A lot of issues. People challenged him, rebelled against him. People did not accept him. In fact, there's a striking medrash at the end of the Torah. It speaks about how when Aaron HaKohen died, all of Bnei Yisrael cried. Everyone cried, man and woman, there was such a mourning. But at Moshe Rabbeinu, the mourning was not quite the same level. And one of the reasons was because, as a leader, you sometimes have to tell people things they don't want to hear. And once again, we get to a huge difference between a true leader and someone who really is a follower. If I'm in it for my own power, I'm going to say whatever gets me power. If I'm that kind of leader, I'll tell you what you want to hear, so you can vote for me. Not the things you need to hear because you need to grow. Because I don't care about you, it's about me. But the true leader, who cares about the betterment of his people or her people, I don't care about being in power. I care that you grow, that you're successful. And sometimes it means I have to tell you some hard truths and give you some musar and set you straight. You won't like me for it, but it doesn't matter because it's not about me. It's about what I can do for you. And just on that note, to close, Shus Nihal, speaking to the boys in yeshiva, you're very fortunate to be Baruch Hashem in yeshiva, where you have Nihal, Rebbeim teachers who are true leaders. They're not doing it because they want to be in positions of power and authority over you. They're here because they want to do what's right for you. And that's why sometimes they tell you things that are difficult. Sometimes you might not even like them when you wake up in the morning, especially in the morning. And they're saying things and doing things not for themselves. It's all for you. And sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's hard. And they may not be the most popular people. But at the end of the day, hope you recognize that that's because they're true leaders, because they really care. They'll tell you some hard truths. They'll do things that are difficult because what it's about is they want to do what's best for you and to help you grow to be the greatest tzaddik that you can be. It's something you may appreciate somewhat already. Certainly when you get older and you become leaders yourselves, you'll appreciate what true leadership is, and you'll bring the next generation of Torah leadership to fruition. That's our session.